Hello, everybody. Welcome back. You're watching our fourth episode of the Table Talks podcast brought to you by Emerge Magazine. I'm Claudia Romero.
I'm Domenico Orlandi.
I'm Lucas Giordano.
I'm Lucas Damiani.
All right, so before we get into this week's quickfire segment, we asked you guys to place your votes last week on our Instagram, EmergeTO, and we asked you guys, does the NBA benefit from players coming together to create super teams? So 64% said yes, and 36% said no. And for the other question we had, can tanking have a positive impact on NHL teams? I thought this was a little bit weird, but 100% said yes. So that's a little bit surprising. I really thought we would have a little bit of an even answer there, but there you go. All right, on to our quick fire segment. This is where we're bringing you our top sports news from the past week. So let's start off with Galchenyuk. He's been good on the Tavares line. If this continues, do the Leafs need to seek a trade for a top six winger? Like the media has been begging for, or does Galchenyuk fill that role well enough? So what do you guys think?
Honestly, I think they should sort of just stick with him. The Leafs, I don't feel like they need to risk trading a lot of assets. I feel like they can hold on to it if Galchenyuk keeps performing, and then I don't see the issue with that. And on top of that, they have other players in their system, right? Like Robertson and Barabanov. So I don't know. I think he's been clicking with them. They went out to acquire him, and he's performing. So I think it'd be smart for them to just kind of hold on to what they got and just roll with Galchenyuk.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I think come trade deadline, a defenseman should be on the market for the Leafs. Defensemen's championships, and we have a top 5 offense in the league with Galchenyuk getting added onto that. I think Matthews being the top goal scorer in the NHL is like good enough. Marner being a top 10 in points, good enough. Tavares is our secret weapon. Willie Nylander, I think offensively we're good enough. I think Galchenyuk adds that nice little add of spice, little hard worker, get back into corners, that type of thing. And he also has that skill. He was a number 3 overall pick. I agree. I don't think we should trade any high property prospects for him. I think that should go towards a Matthias Ekholm, maybe a different type of defenseman, or honestly, even draft picks. I would be fine with that too. I don't think we should go for another forward. I think we should stick with what we got and roll our dice.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think he's doing well, even though I said it was just kind of a pickup move, I think in episode 1. But he's actually doing way better than I thought he would, right? And I don't think that you need to add on to something that's so good. I think you do have to shore up the defense a little bit, like you said. I think the Leafs still have a lot to figure out right now, and I guess we'll see where the direction that they go in, because you always could. It never hurts to get another top 6 forward, but I don't know, man.
Yeah, just honestly, he's also just versatile. So even if he's not exactly clicking with Tavares, I feel like he can even do a job on the 3rd or 4th line. And I feel like there's always just a risk with the trade deadline, and you see a lot of teams overpay for players, and a lot of times they're unrestricted free agents, and they just walk in the summer, right? So just got to be careful that they don't do that. They have someone that they can that has shown that he can perform.
They're deep enough. Keep it at this for offense. We even have Robertson, who's very skilled, and he's probably going to be on our taxi squad come playoff time. I want a defenseman, because God forbid TJ Brody or Morgan Riley go down with an injury, we're in trouble. Mm-hmm. And so I think that defensive depth will definitely come in handy.
Yeah.
All right, and Zach Hyman, he's had a fantastic season so far. Is he a potential Canadian Olympic athlete?
No. I saw this argument on TSN, and I don't mean to call out O-Dog and the boys on TSN, but that was a really, really bad argument. I love Zach Hyman. He is so crucial to this Toronto Maple Leafs team. I think without him, they're not nearly as good, but there's so many good Canadian players that are ahead of Zach Hyman on that depth list. You got Marchessault, you got Stahl, you got like just so many other assets in which like Zach Hyman's not the most skilled player in the world. Where he makes his bread is going into the corners and digging for pucks. But this Canadian team, if they do play in 2022, I don't 100% recall if they're gonna go, but if they do play in 2022, they're not a team that's going to be digging in corners. There's a lot of skill in this team. Like I think they're going to want to match that with skill. If they're trying to match with grit, then maybe, but I just don't think that the skill is there for Zach Hyman to leapfrog over a lot of like good Canadian players. Mainly one that comes right to my mind is Marchessault. So
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think there's so many upper echelon Canadian players that there's not enough room for him, and it's kind of sad because he's playing amazing and he's improved. It feels like every year, like drastically, but I just don't think there's a spot for him right now.
Yeah, when you look at a bunch of different like mock drafts of like what the team could look like, there's always like debates and stuff about very high end players that don't make the team. So I think Hyman's having a great season, but he still doesn't match up to the guys that are even missing out. And there's a lot of people that you can even put into like a second team.
Yeah,
That's just
literally
how much depth we have.
Yeah.
And it sucks because he's having a great year, but that's just the tough part of being a Canadian. So many talented players. So
I was even seeing mock drafts that had Ryan O'Reilly as the 13th forward, and it's like, okay, Zach Hyman's not Ryan O'Reilly, so
freaking captain of the St. Louis Blues guys.
Yeah, like it's
Conn Smythe.
It's definitely a stretch. It's definitely I think TSN went with the Toronto bias on that one. I don't think Zach Hyman is an Olympic athlete.
Okay, so the Buffalo Sabres, they have finally won a game. So now what?
I don't know.
Lose another 18.
I guess not be embarrassed. They didn't set the record. They just tied it. I don't know, because then they just lost another like 2 games. So they saved themselves a bit of embarrassment, even though that was very embarrassing, losing 18 straight. But
they didn't save themselves nothing. They're
They
a
didn't
joke.
They are a joke.
they didn't set it. They tied it. So they
It'd
won't.
almost be better to set it. I wish they said it.
True.
And it's like
it would be a memorable
comeback
season.
story.
Yeah.
Now it's mediocre comeback story, like they've been their whole lives.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Now we just wait for the aftermath with the trade deadline. See who gets traded. See how many more games they can lose.
The whole team.
Just tank even more. But yeah, we'll see. That was embarrassing, but I'm glad it's done.
All right. So the Vancouver Canucks, there's a huge COVID-19 situation going on, up to 21 positive cases on this team, including the players and the staff. How crazy is that?
Yeah, it's pretty tough. It's not the first team. It's not the first team in the league that's dealt with this, but this is pretty bad right now. It's the first Canadian one.
This is the worst one too.
This is the worst
by far.
Yeah,
this
is bad.
So
I've never seen something like this.
It's getting a lot of it more attention. A lot of games have been postponed, so we don't know exactly how they're gonna have to make up for that right now. But yeah, it's a tough situation.
Yeah, and I know a lot of them are the new variant too out of Brazil, so that's pretty scary. And I wish them the best. But I know because when Dallas had their huge outbreak, right?
Yeah.
And for context, you guys know, but my brother's on Texas. They had to. It was such a disaster for the players. You couldn't even leave your hotel room for 2 weeks. My brother was just kind of stuck in his room. Thankfully, he never got it. And I think this is because they're kind of letting fans in slowly. I know they're not in Vancouver, but they're kind of getting loose.
They are.
Yeah, in the States, the Jays game today was packed, but that's besides the point. They're kind of getting loose with the rules, it kind of feels like right now. And a lot of players, when you're that big and famous, have that kind of money, it's hard to just sit in your house, right?
Yeah.
It's hard for us to sit in our house and we're broke. So yeah, I can't imagine what it's like for them right now. And I wish them and their families all the best. I'm pretty sure it's spread to some of the families. So it's kind of a scary situation over there.
Yeah, it's definitely scary, especially with the variant that's sending a lot of young people to the hospitals and the ICUs. But I wonder where it goes from here, because I've been watching the news and I've been hearing that they might even cancel the Canucks season just to not risk anyone else. And they don't know once the players come back, are they going to be healthy enough to compete, or like it's a very tough situation and a curveball that has been thrown at the NHL. So I don't know how it's going to pan out, but I mean, I guess this is something that we have to move past. Even the fans. I mean, the fans are definitely upset that they can't watch their team play. Some are taking it to Twitter and really blaming some players, which I don't believe is right. Everyone's a person at the end of the day, and people have feelings. So I feel like we should all stay off social media, especially with something like this. But yeah, hopefully the next steps are positive and we move forward from this.
Yeah.
All right. Brandon Dubinsky said on a podcast that he'd take Ovechkin over Crosby, and then proceeded to trash on Crosby. So what do we think about his comments?
A little out of line, I guess.
Little.
Way out of line.
Yeah, this like I think you guys can all remember that Dubinsky like hated Crosby when they were playing,
Yeah.
and it's solely because that Dubinsky was literally nobody for his entire career. No offense, Brandon Dubinsky, and Sidney Crosby was just the GOAT of our generation. So I don't know why he's throwing shots like this. Like Crosby can literally just say, my Stanley Cups are plugging my ears, pull a Patrick Waugh type thing.
Mhm.
Like I'm sure he doesn't care about a third liner's opinion, to be honest.
Yeah, like it's he obviously has a pretty something against them and stuff, right? Even
Yeah.
with Columbus and stuff, they've had some rivalry with the Penguins, Tortorella and stuff. He's even said some stuff about Crosby and Malkin in the past. If we're getting into the fact that like the whole debate about Crosby Ovechkin, I think that too, it's like you're gonna take Sidney Crosby over Alex Ovechkin. Like obviously,
there's a debate for sure, though, but
yeah,
there's definitely a debate to be had there.
But the
he's on the
way
wrong side of it.
he trashed,
the way he went
Crosby,
about it's like yo, that's
we know you're just butthurt that the Pens beat you every time they played you.
Yeah.
Like it's okay.
There's bad blood there.
Like
you can't make that argument over bad blood. Like that's out of line, and it's not really how you'd expect a hockey player to react in the media like these days. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but most hockey players are kind of just like go with the flow,
chill.
Just be chill, like respect each other's game, right? And then you kind of just come out and trash like probably or literally one of the greatest players to ever play.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird.
Just the way
like I said, like a third liner, like do you really think Sidney Crosby is reading this and is like, oh my God, like Brandon Dubinsky said this about me, like please, like
I guarantee he never even saw it.
He does not care about Brandon Dubinsky, and the fact that Brandon Dubinsky's like retired, he's retired now, right?
Yeah, but I think that's
still talking about Crosby.
Yeah, some injury problems he's had. So I want to like make fun of him because like
no, you're not gonna make fun of him because of that. But I'm gonna make fun of him because he hasn't played hockey in so long, and he's still on that wave of me and Crosby have bad blood. Like
let it go, man. Like
you're a normal person now.
Yeah, you gotta let it go, man. Like whatever.
Like what happens in the game stays in the game. Like I don't know. To me, like you're breaking one of the number one rules, unwritten rules of like amongst players, which is what stays on the ice. What happens on the ice stays on the ice.
Yeah.
Like you don't really talk about what goes on, like chirping wise and whatever on the ice. Like if that was the case, then I think a lot of people would have a lot of things to say about Dubinsky too.
Yeah,
he wasn't the nicest guy on the ice either.
If you're gonna hold a grudge, dude, don't let it seep out in your comments when you're talking to media. Just keep it to yourself. Like it makes you look like it's a bad image for yourself. It's like, what are you doing?
Especially if you can't back it up. Like if it's Ovechkin going like, Crosby sucks.
That's allowed.
Then people are like, okay, that's the greatest goal scorer of all time saying that.
Yeah, but
this guy, like, no offense, he hasn't done anything.
Yeah, and no, like classy. You wouldn't say that.
Yeah, Ovechkin is classy. Yeah.
So.
Okay, Thatcher Demko signed a 5-year contract worth $25 million with the Canucks. Are the Canucks right to bet on someone who only has 60 games of NHL experience? What do you guys think?
maybe it's a little bit of a risk, but I think he's done. I think he's done well enough to prove that he's the goalie for the future. He's young. He's stood on his head quite a lot this season for them, and even in the playoffs last year. Honestly, I think he's done enough to do it. He stepped up big this year with Jacob Markstrom leaving. That was like the biggest question mark with the team this season. And they signed Braden Holtby from Washington Capitals, and a lot of people expected him to be the starter, but Demko's kind of just really made it his own. I think he's done enough now to really prove that he's the goalie for the future, and I think it's a good contract.
Yeah, like you said, once you have talent, you know it's there, and it's one of your guys. Like they know him. They wouldn't give him this money just based on nothing. Like even only in 60 games, he's proven that he's a very, very good goaltender, right?
He is.
And like you said, I thought Holtby was going to take the job too, but I don't know. I'm excited for it. You never know with contracts like this with guys with not a lot of experience, but I think it's going to work out well.
Yeah, I have to agree. I think he's definitely the goalie for the future. 5 years by $5 million a year isn't like too crazy. You know what I mean? Like I think it's medium risk, medium reward, but I think Thatcher Demko's looking like the real deal. I think watching him play against the Leafs and just holding it down and honestly stealing, I think it was 4 points against us.
Yeah.
Like that showed a lot. And I was like, wow, like this is definitely someone to look at. Obviously, goalies take a while for their development. And as you've seen with Philadelphia and Carter Hart, they might have a step back a few seasons. But I definitely think this is the right move. They had to lock their young star, and good for Vancouver. Let's see how he does.
Yeah, hopefully we see him playing again soon with the COVID stuff.
I know, yeah, for real.
Yeah.
All right, the Calder Trophy. Who are your picks for that?
Well, I don't know. It might be a little early to say. I do think Kirill Kaprizov is definitely like the leader. I think he's most likely to win. But you got to give a shout out to Tim Stützle.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's doing really well on a Senators team that's not that good. And he was drafted 3rd overall. He's been like, as soon as he came into the NHL, he's fit right in. I don't know. Like I saw him play and was like, wow, like this kid's the real deal. Like usually when I hear Ottawa fans talk, I kind of tune them out, but the kid's the real deal. He's doing very well. I think he definitely deserves like a shout at least.
Yeah.
I think just the narrative that's going on in Ottawa right now is very reminiscent to a Leafs team that got a lot of fans excited. And not only that, but just like they look good. They look good. Like Brady Tkachuk, Tim Stützle. I think 20 points in 35 games for basically a bottom feeder of the NHL, you can't really overlook that. I think that definitely should be considered. Don't get me wrong. Kaprizov is doing amazing. I think he has 31 points in 34 games for Minnesota.
Yeah.
But Minnesota are a very good team too. So he's surrounded by guys who are also very skilled. Whereas Tim Stützle's been like isolated. He's not on a good team. It's basically Brady Tkachuk, Tim Stützle versus the world. So I really like Tim Stützle. I think he deserves a shout. If he's not number 1, he's number 2 for sure.
I mean, I agree with that point, but I still think Kaprizov's going to win. Like, I know you said that Minnesota is a better team, but Minnesota has always kind of been a team that struggled offensively. Like, they've never had like a lot of offensive talent, and that they've always kind of been like that team that's relied like on their defense a lot. And I think Kaprizov coming in has been such like a breath of fresh air for that team. He's so electric and dynamic. Like, they haven't had a player like that in a very long time. And I think he's really made them a more entertaining team. I mean, I've watched a few of their games. I've seen a lot of highlights of him. He's a phenomenal player. So
yeah,
Stützle definitely deserves a lot of recognition too. Like you said, he's on a team with really not a with nobody, right?
Yeah.
But Kaprizov has just been so good.
I know.
I think he's gonna win, but yeah, I don't know. Stützle, he's having a great season too. You can't knock it.
Yeah. Let's be fair. Artemi Panarin did win the Calder in the year that McDavid was a rookie too. So
yeah.
yeah.
So
All right, moving on to the NBA. So should the Raptors go for the play-in tournament to try and make playoffs or accept the tank?
I think they should go for it. I don't think the Raptors are the type of team that are accepting of a tank, right? With under Masai and Nick Nurse and coming off a championship really like not long ago at all, right?
Mhm.
I think the play-in tournament offers them a chance to get into the playoffs, show the other teams that they're still like a tough matchup. They'd be one of the most dangerous teams in the or in the play-in tournament, sorry. And right now they're really injured. So like the Raptors team you see right now, they're not the team that is going to be in this play-in tournament if by chance they make it. Like it'll be tough, but I don't think they're the team that's going to accept tanking. I guess we'll have to see though.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I want to be that guy to say, we should always try and we should always, try to make the playoffs. But if they're going to be a one and done team, if they're not going to go deep, I would personally rather just accept the tank, get a higher draft pick, and see what we can do with that. So I think we accept the tank and move forward with that.
I agree with Lucas. Honestly, I would rather I would rather see them go for it. I think, like you said, they're really beaten up right now. I think at full strength they have a lot more to offer. And when you're in the playoffs, anything can happen. Obviously, it's going to be if they just squeak in, they're going to have a tough time against like probably one of the like Brooklyn or Philly or something. But I think they have what it takes to push them. I mean, they're experienced in the playoffs now, and they have a lot of guys that obviously that have gone through long playoff runs now and have gone up against star players in long series. So I think they can give them a run for their money. And I think this goes back to like what we talked about last week, just the whole thing about tanking and how more teams should just try to develop their players better. And I think the Raptors have done a good job with that over the last few years too. They've been one of the best teams in the East in the league, and they produce a lot of really good, talented players, even though they haven't been finishing near the bottom. So I think they should try and go for it, honestly.
Yeah, something to consider with this. Like when the Raptors have a lot of young players that they've kind of locked down. Like Siakam's maybe not as young anymore. Fred is still young. They got Gary Trent now. It's a good experience to fight through this play-in tournament. Like they have enough talent to build and develop around that. Maybe the draft would obviously help if you can get a Jalen Suggs or a Cade Cunningham out of this draft.
Yeah.
This is a good experience to build their team up. It builds character, anything. And at full strength with Lowry and Van Fleet back, and maybe get rid of Baines, like send them to the furthest country possible. They're like still a very good basketball team. They're just not showing it right now. And it has a lot to do with COVID. It has a lot to do with being in Tampa, like not seeing their families. It's a bucket load of problems, right?
Yeah.
All right. James Harden said in an interview that he is the NBA's MVP this year. Do you guys think this is true? If not, who is the front runner? What do you guys think? I see you nodding your head over there.
No.
I don't think he's the MVP, but it's death, taxes, and James Harden in the MVP conversation. It's standard every single year. It's going to happen. He's going to be in the conversation. He may not win, and most of the time he hasn't won, right? But he's got to be in the conversation the way he's playing, especially with Durant out right now. And the only knock against him, which is a fair knock, is he's on such a loaded basketball team.
Yeah.
Like, even with just Kyrie, like it's hard to give them the MVP. It's the same as like, oh, LeBron's MVP. Well, AD is amazing. It's kind of the same thing, right? But now he's got two other giants he's playing with. So I think that it's leaning more towards a big man in Jokic or Embiid, depending on how Embiid is now that he's back healthy. But you can't have the conversation without Harden, and it's going to be like that every year, probably for the next 5 years.
Yeah, I would definitely say Jokic is probably my front runner. I would also give a shout to Luka Doncic. I don't know. I just think he deserves at least some recognition. But like I said, or Jokic, the Joker, I think he's definitely my front runner for the MVP. I think without him, Denver, I don't even think make the playoffs. But that's just what I think. I think what you said is true about James Harden. He's always in the convo, and you got to respect that. You got to respect that. He's an amazing player. I get sometimes he can be selfish and hog the ball, but we don't see this talent come, every day.
One of the greatest scorers ever.
Yeah.
Ever.
So he's in the convo for me, and I respect him as a player, but for him to say like outright that he's the MVP, like obviously you got to feed into your own game and you got to, build your ego and your confidence. But man, I don't know. I feel like that's a little out of pocket.
Yeah. I'll just touch on quickly too, because you guys made a lot of good points. Like, I like seeing him be confident. Like like you guys said, Durant's out, and it's still a really talented team, and he's still, elevated his game, and but I don't think he's gonna win this year. I mean, they're gonna look at the team, and a lot of people are gonna say he has too much talent with him, and with the season like I think Embiid has a good show, honestly, to win. With the way Philly's been playing this year, so
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, soccer. Jonathan David scored the game winner as Lille beat Ligue 1 favorites PSG 1-0. So David picked up an injury during the game and will miss several weeks.
Yeah, I mean, what can I say about Jonathan David? I love him. He's an amazing striker for Lille. He really came out of his shell after the first, I think it was 8 or 10 games. He's done so well for them. And man, does it suck to see him get injured. I think it's something like a torn ligament in his ankle, which horrible news because, he's a Canadian guy who just scored the game winner against Paris Saint-Germain with the likes of Kylian Mbappe, Neymar. Verratti's not playing, but Kimpembe, Marquinhos, it's a stacked team, and a Canadian just scored to beat them. And right after he scored, he got subbed off for an injury. So a moment where we're supposed to feel very happy just turned into feeling very sad, which it sucks because who knows if we'll see David play again this season, because the season's coming to an end really soon. But yeah, it was great to see him do well against a title favorite in PSG.
Yeah, and Lille's in first place right now, and it's great to see for the French league because of the fact that PSG's basically been the dominant force for the last almost decade now, ever since they got all their financial backing. I think a lot of people can get behind David and what Lille are doing right now, because it's good to see a bit more parity in the league and seeing a lot more teams challenge PSG and really give them a good go. So yeah, obviously it's great to see David. Sucks to see that he got hurt, but I'm gonna be rooting for Lille, honestly. I love
to see same here, man.
Dethrone PSG. I'm kind of sick of them, but yeah, it's good to see.
Okay, have Inter Milan secured the Scudetto with AC Milan dropping points yet again, and Juventus trailing 12 points behind with only 10 games left?
Yeah, like as much as it pains me to say because I'm a Milanista, Inter have secured the Scudetto. AC just ran out of gas towards the end. We're not getting results that we should. Against 10-man Sampdoria, we tied, and honestly, we didn't even deserve that point. Juventus, on the other hand, are a flaming mess. I don't know what is happening with them. They're 12 points back with 10 games left, and they lost their game in hand. They're going to play against Napoli on Wednesday, and that's going to be a huge game. If Juve lose that, I think 100% they're done. But not only that, if they lose that game, like there's a chance that they do not make a Champions League spot, which is crazy to think about because Juventus have been Scudetto winners for the past 9 years. They've been in the Champions League for almost as many years, and they've been the staple of Italian football for a long time. So to see them fall from grace this badly is really crazy.
Yeah, it sucks to see that the Inter is going to probably win this. I mean, in some ways, it's nice to see Antonio Conte because I'm a Chelsea fan and I still respect the time he had with us. So in that regard, I like it. But I've never been a big Inter fan. But you got to respect where respect's due, and they've been
they've been the best team. They've been the best team.
They've been fantastic, and seeing Juventus the way they are now is something. I mean, obviously, like in certain like there's a lot of players that you could tell they've dropped in quality over the years. Obviously, they have Ronaldo and stuff, and it's crazy to see that a team with Cristiano Ronaldo on it struggling this much right now. But I don't think it's too surprising to see that they've dropped. maybe this much it's surprising, but like I think a lot of people could have expected this and foreseen it with the way that they were sort of their trajectory was with the way the certain players that they were signing and stuff. But it's just crazy to see.
Yeah. And honestly, like I don't even feel bad because I know so many Juventini that are just so cocky about their team, and it's
Yeah.
like, yo, take a step back. You're
Step
not winning
back.
this year. I'm happy they're not winning this year. I'm just so sad that it's Inter that takes them down.
Yeah, it would have been
But-
nice to see AC Milan win. I really want them to get back. Like they're still on a great track to get back to where they were. It's good to see them becoming a lot more competitive in Italy and Europe again.
They ran out of gas. Like I don't know. It's tough. It's really tough to talk about as a Milan fan because just like so many injuries, so many things that could have gone our way that didn't, and whatever. That's the course of a season, though. I think they look forward to next year. Zlatan signed for another year, so let's see where it goes.
A lot of stuff to build on. Nothing to be ashamed of with this season. They've had a great year. So
yeah, for sure. Just try to finish top 4 now and get into the Champions League.
yeah.
All right. Yeah. Well, the Champions League quarterfinals do begin. So who do you think moves forward and who gets sent packing?
We got who do we got? We got Man City versus Dortmund. I think in that tie, Man City goes through, although Erling Haaland shows Pep Guardiola why they're gonna sign him this summer. Who else is it? Chelsea Porto. I think Lucas's homies are going through there. Unless Porto pull off a nice defensive performance like they did against Juventus, but I think it's Chelsea that should go through. PSG Bayern, honestly, like I'm going with PSG. I know they haven't been in form, and I know that Neymar has really like been injured and isn't like healthy or fit enough. I think fit is a better word. Isn't fit enough to really play in such a heated Champions League game. But Kylian Mbappe's time to shine is now. And I think he showed it at Barcelona in the first leg against Barca in the Camp Nou. And I think that he shows his class here against Bayern. And I think that he will be the one who carries PSG over the hump. And unfortunately for Canadian fans, Alphonso Davies, I think, will go out in the quarterfinals. And finally, we have Real Madrid and Liverpool. And honestly, like, it's a toss-up. I think if Ramos plays, Real Madrid have the advantage there. But I'm hearing that he won't play both legs. So that definitely does play into Liverpool's chances because Ramos not on Real Madrid is a like totally different team.
Yeah.
So I think although they're beaten up right now, they are playing better, maybe not getting the exact results that I feel they deserve, but they are playing better. I think Liverpool go through on that one.
Yeah, so Man City, Dortmund, I agree with Man City, but Dortmund shouldn't really be taken lightly. They have this thing in the Champions League where they always show up, even though they're pretty much fading in the Bundesliga right now. But they have a lot of quality that can give Man City trouble. But I still think Man City will go through. They've been phenomenal this year. Chelsea, Porto. I mean, Chelsea's been really good under Tuchel since he's taken over. They had a really bad result this weekend. That was really bad. But Porto still shouldn't be taken lightly. I think that game against West Brom should be a warning for them. And hopefully, as a Chelsea fan, it wakes them up and shows that they
wake up call.
Take them lightly just because you had a really good round of 16 tie against Atletico. With PSG Bayern, I still think Bayern are going to win, but I like the whole thing that you set up with Mbappe. And I think like if they go through and he's like the main star of this tie, this could really be like the takeoff for him to like becoming like the best player in the world. It's really something.
He's already there for me. I think he's already number 3.
Yeah.
I think Messi and Ronaldo, obviously, like they're gonna keep being number 1 and 2 till the day they retire. But like you said, or like I said, I think Mbappe like just needs that extra step to solidify. Like I'm next. Like not Haaland. Don't listen to all these. Like I'm next, and I think that's where he proves it against Bayern.
That would be cool. Even if they don't get through, but he still puts up like a great performance, that could still be for him. But I still think Bayern are just way too good. I think they'll get through. And then with Real and Liverpool, that's definitely a really close one. I think that's like, I was gonna say that's probably like the closest, but PSG Bayern is pretty close too. I think Real are gonna get through with that one, if I have to predict. But
Bold choice. Bold choice.
a lot of great games coming. A lot to look.
Yeah, excited to see how it unfolds.
All right, on to the MLB. So, do we have any expectations for the Toronto Blue Jays season? So, George Springer, he's out for the first few games of the season. What do you guys think?
Yeah, he's I think their star player has been out it's been 4 games, and the Blue Jays still look really nice. They're 3-1, which is a good start. I think they're AL East favorites. I think them and the Yankees are going to go neck and neck all season, and I think the season series is going to decide. But they look good. Their starting rotation looks good. Vlad Guerrero Jr. looks good. Bo Bichette looks good. I want to see how George Springer is, but he'll come back. I think he's on the 10-day DL. So yeah, they look really good. I like the way they've started, and I'm excited to see how they go.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. But the one thing I've learned about baseball over years of watching the Jays and watching them fall flat not fall flat, but not get to the promised land in the playoffs is it's a long season, man. A really long season. There's a lot they're going to have to go through, especially with COVID, with not living at home, playing in Buffalo. It's going to be a really long season, and it's going to be hard, but we'll see. I got high hopes for them too.
Yeah, me too. It's good to see that these guys are really maturing and taking a good step. I mean, it's only a small sample size with only 4 games, but you can already see like that these guys are a lot more confident. They can tell that they're a lot more talented. And I guess the hope is just that they continue on this trend and continue their good start, and George Springer can just sort of slide into the team and add to that and bring a lot more quality too.
Yep.
All right, moving on to the NFL. So the San Francisco 49ers traded with the Dolphins for the 3rd overall pick in this year's draft. Should Jimmy Garoppolo fear that they'll take a QB in that spot to replace him?
100%. It's exactly what they're going to do. Like Jimmy G, he's a good quarterback. He's brought them really far in the playoffs. He's brought them really far throughout the league, and it's a good team, but I don't think he's the guy, right? They'll lie to you and say he's the guy until they trade or until they draft the quarterback, but they're definitely drafting one. There's no point. They wouldn't make the deal if they weren't. And it's only going to make them better. I don't know what's going to happen to Jimmy G, but all the best to him.
Okay, and the New York Jets traded quarterback Sam Darnold to the Panthers. So does this all but guarantee that the Jets draft a new quarterback?
Yes. They're going to draft a quarterback. I think that was always going to be the plan. You could tell that they weren't as high on Darnold as I guess he might have thought they were on himself. I think it's a great pickup for Carolina. I think he's going to be great there. He's going to elevate that team's game. He's still a very good quarterback. But with the draft right now, it's so quarterback heavy, and there's so many good, actually great guys coming in. I think it's all but guaranteed that they're going to draft one, considering they need one now. And there's a couple quarterbacks that are off the table, I'd say, in trade talks now, to put it lightly, just because there's a little bit of issues going on that we're not going to get into. But their main target is kind of off the table right now. So I'd say they're going to draft one for sure.
Okay, and Formula One. So the 2021 Formula One season has officially begun. So what are some things that you guys are excited, or like what is something that, we should look out for?
Definitely look out for Max Verstappen in the Red Bull car this year. He challenged Lewis Hamilton in the first race of the season, and it was such an exciting race. If you guys missed it, you should definitely watch. It went down to the last lap. I definitely am excited to see just a little more competition because as we all know, Lewis Hamilton's been dominating F1 for a long time now. And I want to see how Verstappen does. I think this is the year that he takes the mantle. I also want to see Ferrari just because I'm a Ferrari fan, and I know last year the FIA really put the hammer down on Ferrari and took a lot of the power away. So I want to see how they bounce back from that with Charles Leclerc, who's probably one of the better drivers on the grid. I'd say, in my opinion, he's the 4th or 3rd best, just not in a great car at the moment. And honestly, what I'm most excited for is Mick Schumacher, so the son of Michael Schumacher, in the Haas car this season for his first Formula One season. He's an amazing prospect. He won the Formula 2 championship, and he's the son of the GOAT of Formula One, Michael Schumacher, Mick Schumacher. I want to see how he does. I want to see if he lives up to the name. It's definitely great to see a Schumacher back on the name list of Formula One again. So I'm excited to see.
Okay, golf. So there are 3 Canadians, Mackenzie Hughes, Corey Connors, and Mike Weir. They'll be playing in the Masters this upcoming weekend. So do any of them have a chance to take home the green jacket?
Yeah, I'm so excited for the Masters this weekend. It's the best weekend in golf, and the way it was last year was great too. It was only in November, right? And it was awesome, and it's so exciting. There's no better weekend in golf. But as for the Canadians, everyone knows Mike Weir isn't gonna, and not to be mean or anything, to put it, he's not gonna do anything. He's there on merit. You get invited every year if you win. He won what it feels like a million years ago now, which is still the only Canadian to win. It's amazing. Everyone loves Mike Weir for it, but he's just kind of going through the motions now. He's getting up there in age. But Mackenzie Hughes and Corey Connors are both very good golfers. Corey Connors did amazing in November in the last Masters, and I think if either of them has a better chance, it's Connors. But both of them can make a splash. I don't know for sure if they'll win, just because the talent is so high end this year. But if any of them do, my money's on Corey Connors, but Hughes could definitely make a splash.
All right, now we're on to our next segment. As you guys know, it's called What's Lucas Tweeting About, where we're going to go on Twitter, read Lucas Damiani's tweets, and wonder what's going on in his mind. So the first tweet I have here is Raptors beating up on the Warriors G League team by 50 is not an efficient way to tank.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
The G League part was a joke, but honestly, not really, considering Draymond wasn't playing, Steph wasn't playing, Clay wasn't playing. Like it was a bad team that like probably every single team in the league would have beat, maybe not by the amount that the Raptors beat them by. But for the last part, the tanking part, it kind of felt like for a little bit the Raptors were transitioning into kind of a tank mode or maybe like a subtle tank. But after that, I don't know. It just seems like they're not anymore, if that makes sense. Even if it's just one game, even though they did win tonight as we're filming this, it feels like they might be transitioning away from that tank mode after that. I think it gave them a lot of like hope and good spirits after that. Like you beat a team by felt like a million. What was it, like 50 something? It was a bad showing by Golden State, but it was a great showing by the Raptors.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it wasn't a normal NBA team. There wasn't really many good players. I kind of felt bad at a certain point because the Raptors were just beating on them. But you know what? The Raptors deserve it this year because they've had a really rough year. A lot of things going on that they can't really control. And then there's also a lot of things that they can't control that hasn't gone right for them. So good for them for winning by 50. But at the same time, I want them to tank. I want a really good draft pick, but you know, it's nice to see them have these type of wins. And like you said, like they've shown moments where they've done really well, and they're gonna maybe move away from this, especially now with Gary Trent Jr. being on such a roll. I think they're gonna ride that wave. But yeah, like I think that maybe this was just a high in a season with many lows.
Yeah, just quickly, just want to say, like, I think it's good for the confidence of the team and good for the fans to see. And obviously, it's been a tough season, like you guys said. So I think it's just good to sort of re-energize the team. And hopefully, I agree with Lucas, not Dom. I don't want to see them tank. So hopefully, this is a kickstart to a better end to the season.
All right, now your second tweet says Gary Trent Jr. is a hooper for real. Reminds me of a younger version of former rapper Norman Powell.
Yeah, he's a hooper for real. Like, he's so good. I don't know. He's only 22 years old. He's going nuts in these games. He had kind of a slow start with the Raptors, to be fair, but like that's a given, especially when you're that young, moving across the country basically, and then it's not even where the team actually plays. He's just sat up in a hotel in Tampa Bay.
Mm-hmm.
the Norman Powell part was kind of a joke that like they kind of traded him for just a younger version of him, which is partly true. But I think Gary Trent has even a higher ceiling than Powell does with the way he plays defense, the way he's shooting. He can cut to the lane. He passes well, even though he doesn't get a lot of assists. That's exactly like Powell, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think the sky is the limit for this kid, and I really hope they get to re-sign him. I know he's going to get major offers, but I think the Raptors will match any offer that's given to him. I think they might be dedicated to this kid. He just hit a game winner as we were filming. It was disgusting. He's the real deal.
Yeah. I love him so far. I think he's a great fit with this team. He's definitely that spark of youth that the Raps really look like they needed. Him and Malachi Flynn are definitely gonna have a fun time with the Raps. Do I agree that the ceiling is higher than Norman Powell's? I think we got to wait a bit to really decide that because Norman Powell was also a baller. But you got a younger version. You got a guy who could stick with us for a long time and be a part of this next core that will carry us to the playoffs. So I love the way he's balling out right now. The game winner was disgusting. And who knows if I'm wrong or if the Raps don't start tanking, I'll still be happy because I'll be seeing these guys hoop out and do really well. So.
Okay, so on to our 5-minute major. This is where we debate on some pretty controversial topics. And yeah, so the first one that we have here are the Leafs genuine contenders this season, or is it another good act in the regular season?
I'm gonna be that guy, and I'm gonna say that this is the year. This is the year that the Leafs contend for a Stanley Cup. I think we're too deep offensively to really be outmatched. I think defensively we've been so solid in the regular season. I don't see that changing. The only thing that I'm a little worried about is the goaltending, but I think 100% healthy Freddie Anderson is a top 10 goalie in the league. So yeah, you know what? I'm going to say that the Leafs are a genuine contender. I think this is the season that they make it out of the first round and definitely make a run. I think they're the team to beat in the North Division. I think they should definitely at least make the conference finals and see where they go from there, because I think this is it. This is our year.
Every Leaf fan loves that line. This is our year, right? Like I'm a Leaf fan too.
I know. I've been saying it for a while, but
come on, that line's getting old for real. Like I get it's a different year and there's different obstacles this year than any other year, but they do have a lot of problems they got to figure out. Mainly goaltending. Like you got to figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
A decision has to be made, or people got to step up and figure that situation out, or nothing's going to happen. Because without solid goaltending, you're never going to win the Stanley Cup ever.
Yeah,
it'll never happen. Doesn't matter how good you are. That's like how many goals you can score. It doesn't matter how great Matthews plays, because it's a different game in the playoffs, and it's a game that I think that they're lined up to play well in. It's a tougher game. It's a faster game, but I don't know. Like they're definitely contenders. But I'm not going to say it's their year yet, because it's like that's a jinx. It's like one Leaf fan says it. Oh no, it's not anymore.
Oh, don't say that. No, I'm gonna get like all the viewers coming at me. No, but listen, I agree 100% on what you're saying. But are you telling me right now that an 8-0 Jack Campbell isn't good enough? If in case Freddie Anderson just decides that I'm not going to be a good goaltender anymore.
I never said he's not good enough. Let him play the games then. Let him play.
I'm just saying that on paper,
run him till he loses. Honestly,
yeah. On paper, he's a contender, and they're contenders. Yeah,
he should be the starting goaltender. He should be. Run him till he loses.
That's bold. That's bold. I love Freddie.
What are you gonna do? I love Freddie too. Stop holding on though.
Yeah. I don't know.
Let him go, bro.
I think he's been injured.
Okay, then give him his time to heal and let Campbell play.
100%. But what I'm saying is 100% healthy Freddie is better than Jack Campbell. And if we have that in the playoffs, we're 100% contenders. We should be getting out of the North Division.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, like, that's kind of like a good problem to have. Like, it's never a bad thing to know that your backup is as good as he is, right?
He's 8-0. He's 8-0. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, like
numbers don't lie.
if they put Freddie back in and he's not performing, it's not like before where it's like, oh my God, we're screwed now, right? Now they have someone that they can be like, okay, you know what, he's performed for us. We can turn to him, and we're confident he can perform. And I think like in general, this is just a big year for the Leafs, because if they don't contend, if it's a first round exit again, I think like you're gonna see big changes with them.
Yeah.
I think with this group, that's just not going to be acceptable another year where they flame out like that. So
if it's not now, then when with this group? Because
that's
you got Austin Matthews entering his prime,
Mhm.
Mitch Marner entering his prime, William Nylander entering his prime, John Tavares is in his prime.
Yeah.
Like you
That's
just
a bold statement too.
come on. I think
he's on. I think he's on.
his prime.
you can say he's on the come down stat wise.
He's on the come down anyways.
If you watch him, he takes so much pressure off of these young guys.
You're right.
I think he's so underrated. I think he's so underrated.
Okay, yeah, he's underrated, but come on, he's not in his prime. I think honestly, he's coming down a little bit.
Yeah.
He's slow. Like he's
sure,
slow,
fair. Maybe it's out of line to say that he's in his prime.
It is,
but
sure.
he's not far off from his prime form.
I know that, and it helps when you have that much talent. Sorry, Lou, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, like, I think his peak was honestly like his first year with the Leafs.
17-18, yeah.
Right? Like,
or was it 18-19? No, it was 17-18.
And I don't think he needs to be like. I don't think it's a knock to say like he's not in his prime.
No, it was 18-19, Lou.
He doesn't. Oh, okay, yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a knock to say that he's not in his prime anymore, because I don't really think they need like prime Tavares anymore. He's not.
They don't. Yeah, no, they don't.
Like, he's their second line center, and even if he's not in his prime anymore, he's still a very, very good centerman. And, you know, you could say he's not the fastest player, but he still contributes, right? But at the end,
the thing is,
the focal point, the star, and that it's about him and Marner being in their prime.
Exactly, and the thing is, on paper, Tavares is their second line center, but he's playing those first line matchups.
Yeah.
He's playing those. He, like, let's say we get into a series with Boston.
Yeah.
Tavares is the one who's taking McAvoy and the big defenseman on the Bruins. Tavares is going to be the one who's getting Darnell Nurse. Tavares is the one who's going to be getting Jeff Petrie.
Mm-hmm.
Austin Matthews is counting his blessings because he just got a huge weight lifted off his shoulders, and I think that's what the Leafs brought Tavares in for, and that's why I say he's in his prime, or he's very, like, valuable to this team.
Yeah.
Because without Tavares, you got Matthews matching up against the top line, top defensive pairings every time, which is definitely going to ruin his stats, and he's not going to be as effective. So that's why I think if it's not now, if it's not this season that they make a push, then when? Then when? We're going to have to get rid of one of Marner, Nylander, maybe Tavares. I don't know. But if not now, then when? For sure.
Or Matthews walks. You never know.
No. Oh, let's not say that. No. I don't want to bring negative energy here. No. He stays. He retires a Leaf, and he's on the Leaf memorable wall.
What do you think Islanders fans thought that about today?
Yeah,
until he wanted to go home?
He's
we can dream.
Matthews banner in the sky. He's Hart Trophy.
Don't get me wrong. I hope he stays, but you don't know.
Fingers crossed.
Okay, next. Erling Haaland's agent Mino Raiola has been traveling Europe looking for possible destinations this summer for superstar Erling Haaland. So who do you think will win the sweepstakes? You know, who signs the young superstar? Real Madrid, Manchester City, Barcelona, or does he stay?
I think the stars have aligned for Erling Haaland to go to Manchester City. I think Sergio Aguero is leaving. He's probably their best striker in team history.
Mm-hmm.
And why not replace him with a star that can surpass him, because he has the potential to. I think that Erling Haaland is definitely going to be expensive, over 150 million euros, 100%. I think Erling Haaland moves to Manchester City. I think Pep Guardiola is going to put him right under his wing, and I think Man City take him and go far with him. I think he's going to stay there for a long time because Manchester City aren't getting any worse. He wants Champions League football. He's going to get it. And how fitting would it be for Erling Haaland to go to Man City and carry them to a Champions League title, something that's been eluding them for so long? I think he's going to Manchester City.
I also think Man City's the front runner for this. they've been quiet in the transfer window the previous year, obviously because of COVID. It's restricted a lot of teams. I think they're definitely going to go all out for him. But I mean, Real Madrid still has to be considered. They've been linked with him for such a long time, and they're also a team that's going to be hungry for a young superstar to really be their next Galactico, right? Obviously, since Cristiano Ronaldo's left, they haven't been bad. They won a league title, but there's that thing missing, like that really star guy.
That superstar that's going to bring in the sales.
Yeah, the star of the team. Eden Hazard's been horrendous, and that hurts to say as a Chelsea
flop
because I love him with all my heart. But he's been horrible. He's been so many injuries. It's to see. But I mean, all in all, like he's definitely going to leave this summer. I don't see him staying. Dortmund's been fading, and I don't see them winning the Champions League, and that's probably the only way they're going to make it, because right now they're not doing great in the league. And if they don't win, then they're going to have to sell them for financially, because they're going to need money.
They're going to need that money, and he's going to give them big money, that's for sure.
Yeah,
Erling Haaland's going to get him a lot of cash.
I don't think it'll be any surprise if he sets a new transfer record. That's why I think like it really comes down to the big boys. Even I don't want to. I mean, I'm hoping my boys Chelsea get in there because we with them a little bit.
Just stop. They're not getting him.
I'm gonna be scared. I'm gonna be very scared if he goes to Man City and knowing that he's in the same league as my favorite team.
I don't know. I think Real Madrid are gonna close in on Mbappe. I think Mbappe fits Real Madrid a little more.
Yeah,
I think with Benzema there, how is Haaland really gonna get that star minute type thing? Like I don't know. Like I think Mbappe's a better fit with Real because of Benzema, and Haaland's a better fit with Man City because of Gundogan, because of Foden, because of Sterling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Haaland's that true number 9 that they can just feed in balls and Haaland's gonna finish them. Whereas Mbappe is gonna be that guy who's feeding the balls to Benzema and also putting in a few of himself.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? It's just, I feel like the stars are going to align where it's going to be Haaland to Man City because the Premier League is the biggest league in the world and he loves that starlight. I think Mbappe goes to Real Madrid because Ronaldo is his idol and Real Madrid have the money for it because it's Real Madrid. Come on.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just think Haaland goes to City. I think it's almost like settled. Like I can't imagine anyone else getting him.
I just think that I don't really think Mbappe is going to leave this summer. And because like it's becoming more well known that Haaland's on the market and it's looking like he's going to leave, I think Real have no choice but to go for him. And if they go for him, and they do get him, it's like, where's that leave with Mbappe? But I don't know. I like what you said about Mbappe fitting better, but at the same time, Benzema is getting up there with age and they do have to replace him eventually. He's been phenomenal still since Ronaldo's left, but they're going to have to eventually. And it would be cool to see Haaland play with Benzema and sort of see that partnership.
Be like a teacher-student type of thing.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah.
Time will tell, man. Time will tell. But with Mino Raiola as your agent, you better believe that you're going to be in the news a lot.
Okay, so now it's time for Canadian Athlete of the Week. So our Canadian Athlete of the Week that we chose for this episode is Bianca Andreescu. So I think we all know by now she's from Mississauga, Ontario. So, that's very close to all of us.
She's repping. She's repping.
She is repping.
My city.
So she made it to the final of the Miami Open against top-rated Ash Barty. But she was forced out of the match after injuring her right ankle. This is her best result since her U.S. Open title in 2019, where she beat Serena Williams. She has since battled injuries and, she had a few disappointing results in tournaments, but this trip to the finals of Miami is hopefully a good sign for, good things to come forward.
Yeah. Bianca Andreescu is definitely a Canadian star, and she really did put Canada on the map for women's tennis. Sucks that she got injured. I mean, it's very unlucky, but she'll be back there again. She had a great tournament, and I have no doubt that she'll be back on top soon.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. She's going to be back on top as soon as possible. She's just got to get over these injury problems. But once it's dealt with, she's, like you said, she's a Canadian icon for women's tennis and tennis as a whole. And, you know, you think of Canadian athletes, and you'll look on TV and see the commercials, but she's like, there's like 3 or 4 that are always there, and she's always one of them. She represents Canada perfectly, and Mississauga represent where I'm from. So I love her. I hope she's back on top.
Okay, time for polls. So as you guys know, every week we're going to be posting a set of questions on our social media. If you want to place your own vote, you can visit us on Instagram at emergeto, and we'll be placing these questions right after the episode. So for the first question that we have is, are the Leafs genuine contenders this season? Yes or no? And for the second question we have is, who do you think will sign Erling Haaland? So we have Real Madrid or Manchester City. So you guys can place your votes right after you see this. All right, guys, that's it for this week's episode. We hope you guys enjoyed it. So once again, you can visit emergemagazine.ca or emergeto on Instagram. Thank you guys for watching.
Later.
Don't fucking look at like that.
Did you just say don't look at me? How do you know I'm looking at you?
Because you're laughing. I'm sure you guys are all watching me speak. Okay, 3, 2, 1.